Hey, what's up? This is Mia, and today is a self-reflection day. I figured I could share a story of how I got started with you guys while I'm working on my square foot gardening bed. Being in the garden really makes you think about a lot and do a lot of self-reflecting. It made me think about my past, and I know I mentioned having a car accident, and that's what got me started. Let me clarify, one of the big things that started was the design in my home. What got me on the road to more of a simple lifestyle was actually just a crazy change of events in my life. So that's what I want to share with you guys, and hopefully I can inspire or encourage or open up the door to hear you guys' stories. So as you know, we've been staying in this house for about 6 years. However, we didn't start urban homesteading or transitioning our home into an urban homestead until the last 3 years. And even though this is something we're doing now, this definitely was not on my list 3 years ago. Matter of fact, I think the only thing that I had in my garden was like some hostas or something bare minimum that I was like, it can't die, so it's good. At that time in my life, I didn't see a need for simple living or being frugal because I was full of myself and I was comfortable. Life was changing quickly and positively. I just got a new management position in IT at the community college. I bought a car. I was an off and on entrepreneur, and I just purchased a house that was well beneath my budget. Thank goodness. Life at that time for me was just a state of euphoria because I thought that I had enough money to do whatever needs to be done. I was a single mom who went from no to low income and government assistance to standing on my own 2 feet within a matter of days. Now, I'm not blaming my transition on my future situation because, believe it or not, it was entirely my choice. With the changes that were happening in my life, and matter of fact, even prior to that, I was ready for a change. One day, I just consciously made the decision to walk away. Now, to the outside looking in, you would have thought that I would be comfortable in that life because I was recipient of assistance. On the contrary, I always looked at it as a stepping stone to the next phase. And even though it had its perks, I always found myself in a state of feeling like I was boxed in. I didn't like the fact that someone else was in control of my family's life and well-being. Needless to say, I was ready for a change, and for me, it couldn't come soon enough. However, even though I had great intentions physically, I didn't consider the mental and emotional transition from the poverty mindset to the new lifestyle that I was about to experience. So as I transitioned in this new lifestyle, I grossly underestimated the impact that it would have on my day-to-day. I quickly became a victim of excessive consumerism and debt. It was at a point where the extra money that I thought I had quickly became like sink or swim money. That's how it felt. As I was working to keep my head above water, at the same time, I was also in a consistent state of panic. I worked a full-time job, hustling, addressing needs, going to school, spending time with my family, and I had a severe lack of organization, I'm not afraid to admit. Eventually, the overload became so devastating that it started to affect my mind, body, and my spirit. Eventually, I found myself in my doctor's office talking to him about heart concerns because things were really getting that serious. After running many tests, the good news is I was in 100% health. I was doing good. The bad news is I figured out that it wasn't necessarily an illness, but more so stress and anxiety. It was at that point that I realized that something had to change. to get out of the hole that I put myself in, I started to do research on how I can live a more simpler life and get out of debt. As I was doing my research, I eventually came across a YouTube channel called Roots and Refuge. It was a blog about a big family living on a small farm called a homestead. So at that time, hearing about a homestead and the possibility of having a reliable food source right in your backyard was a first for me. I quickly indulged in the idea, and I watched her and other homesteaders over the next few days like a marathon. They were way more independent than what I was at the time in my life, and they also were carefree. And watching those videos helped me realize that that was the path that I wanted to take for me and my family. As I was planning to begin their journey, I came into conflict because most of them were on acreage lots, and me, for instance, I still stayed in the inner city area, and I was still practically a new homeowner, so I wasn't ready to give up what I have in order to move on a bigger lot. That's when I started learning about urban homesteading. It gives you the ability to still become self-sufficient and sustainable as possible, but you can still remain in the inner city area where you live. Now, I didn't find much on urban homesteading initially, so what I did instead was learn from the homesteaders who stayed off grid and applied some of those methods to my home over the next 3 years. During that time, my inspiration came from not just watching YouTube, but I went on a sustainable garden tour in the area. After all that, now we have arrived to year 4, and I feel better and stronger than ever. I learned that urban homesteading is hard work, but each year, as I learn and perfect a new skill, I just feel empowered and I feel free. It's like the best decision I ever made. In regards to my debt, I'm literally getting back on track. I'm learning to save money better. I'm learning to manage money a whole lot better. And I still have like the same job and doing the same thing, but I changed my thoughts, my mindset, and my outlook on money, and just my actions, and cutting back on a lot of things. So going through those situations or going through that transition made me, in my opinion, a better person and a more freer person for both me and my family. So that's my story. Oh, and I forgot to mention about being an entrepreneur. I'm getting back on track with that as well, and since I've made this transition in my life, it has really made me more patient and more focused. So overall, taking this step really is a great thing. And hopefully within a few years, if I planned it correctly, I say I will be debt free. So you guys are on the journey with me as I reach that goal. With that said, guys and gals, we have finally reached the end of self-reflection, and I hope that my story inspired someone else to seek out a more sustainable lifestyle. And as I go on my journey, I will share what I've learned and the changes that I'm making, and hopefully it can help you on yours. If you have not already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that notification bell and that like button to join the family. If you have any questions for me or you want to share your journey, please let me know in the comments below. I love learning from you guys and listening and just meeting beautiful people. Now that I'm done with the garden bed, my next journey is to go in the house and cook for my family. So with that said, please Have an awesome day and stay supertastic.